Hi, this is Jeremy with Legacy Floors. I had a post a little bit ago about wet shimming and what it was. You can see the walls where the studs were, and there was some thin set on there. I want to explain what it is and why you would do it, and in what cases you could do it. Right here is the Hydroband shower system I just installed today. It's only half done. You can see the sealant is over some of the screw holes and some of the seams themselves. What I had in this shower was all three walls, but mostly two walls that were, the studs were very warped and very out of line with each other. So this wall here, I had one stud here, and then these two studs here, they went back about 3/4 of an inch before it hit the other side here. So what that does is that would create a bow in the wall. And we're doing 12 by 24 porcelain in the shower. So whenever you do a substrate, obviously floors, but also walls, before you put up your wall board, you want to do what you can to make sure that the walls are flat. Because if your walls are not flat, then your tile's not flat. You don't want to rely on the thin set to flatten your walls for you. You want to have all your prep done right and have your substrate flat first. So I can show you a little bit what I did here on this wall where the actual plumbing is. I actually had to take my planer and shave down two of the joists about 1/4 of an inch because the middle two were sticking out very far. And the ends, it would have had a big bow in the wall where the tile was. So I'll show you right now real quick how bad that was over here. This is the opposite side of that wall. So behind this drywall is that plumbing. And when I put this straight edge against here, you can see how bad it is. I can almost get my fingers back there. So coming around that wall now here is the shower on this side. So wet shimming, the process, essentially, I don't have the cavity open anymore, but you can see in the pictures on the other post that I made, before you put your board up, you take your straight edge and you see which studs are sitting further back. If there's studs that are further back, then you would apply some thin set to the studs themselves, as you can see in the picture, all the way up those studs. So when I put the board on there, I've got the screws that are going to be going into the board. You can see a couple of these screws are left sticking out. So when you wet shim, you'll fasten the studs that are close to the board, and you'll penetrate the board on the studs that have the wet shim behind it, so that you can get the screws in but allow the thin set to dry so it doesn't get sucked in when you screw the backer board or the wall board in. Because if I was to just screw these in with the wet shim, it would just push all the thin set out. So this is going to dry till tomorrow, and then I'm going to screw these screws the rest of the way in. These are in, and the ones on the outside are in, but the ones that have the wet shim behind them, I'm leaving out till tomorrow when that thin set's good and dry. So let me show you what the result of that is on this wall. You saw the wall on the other side, how badly bowed that was. And now when I take my straight edge across here, you can see it's a nice flat wall. It's not perfect everywhere, but it's very, very close. So you can see when you set a large format tile on there, it's going to lay flat, and you're not going to have lippage as much as you would if this wall went in and out like that. It was very, very, very out of square and very out of plumb before. So I hope that makes sense. Obviously with the Hydroband board and the Curdy shower system and some of the other foam boards, you can, it depends on the manufacturer, but wet shimming is something that guys do to try and flatten these walls. And when you're able to get that board up with the thin set behind it on the studs, you can actually press your straight edge up against the wall and flatten that wall against the thin set before you screw it all the way in. So it makes for a nice flat surface. So I'm going to flood test my shower. It's been about 3 hours now, and with the Latacrete Hydroband sealant, I can go ahead and fill this thing up with water. And I'm going to come back tomorrow and take a look at it, and I'm going to see that it's all still there. So hope that explains the wet shimming process and why you would need it. Have a great weekend.